Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's Chumash Shir series. Chitas Shir, Yurim on Chumash and Rashi. Pashto Pshat, not too complicated. Pashto Pshat. Okay, let's get right into it. Parshat Tzav. Vaydaber Adonai Moshe Leimer. Yeah, and Hashem spoke to Moshe to say, Tzav is Aaron, command Aaron, Responov. Leimer Zeis Teres Ha'ila, this is the Teres of the Ha'ila. Hiya Oila al Mekoida al Mizbeach, Kol Alayla Ada Beker, the Eisha Mizbeach Tukad Boy. This is the laws of Korban Oila. Korban Oila should go, this is the Oila, the Rashi can explain what is this the Oila mean. Going on the Mekoida, on the fireplace, on the Mizbeach, can be burnt the whole entire night. The Eisha Mizbeach Tukad Boy, and the fire should be burnt there. The fire should be present. Rashi, Tzav Arin, Ein Tzav Loshin Ziruz Miyad V'Laderis. Why does it say, Rashi, when he goes on this point, it says here Tzav. We never had this before. Why does it say Tzav Arin? So Tzav over here is because carbon oil, basically, there's almost no benefit. It's an investment without any benefit. You're just given a carbon and it's getting fully burnt. So where's the benefit? So people try to hesitate. That's why he says, Zaris, go do it. Even though you don't see any benefit, do it anyway. For the data, and should be for the following generations. The Torah has to hasten and give us encouragement when this doesn't seem to be any benefit. Yeah, so getting into the what we said before, Torah Sa'ila. It says Torah Sa'ila, meaning Torah here doesn't mean the whole Torah. It means Torah meaning the whole subject, so to speak, of Korban Eilah. That's what Torah over here means, the subject, which it comes to include the hekter chalav me'farim and all the parts and limbs that go onto the mizbeach, which is kosher kol alayla. V'lamed el psulin eizem im ola yered v'eizem im ola lo yered. There's certain parts of the animal that if they became puzzled, they should, and they threw them on the mizbeach anyway. You have to take them down, and certain ones, if they're on the mizbeach, you could leave them there. So we're coming to include everything which has to do with Korban Eilah. Every time it says Torah in the Torah, it's coming to include more things which are not. Yeah, is the same halacha, so to speak, and everything has to do with Torah. Even some of them which are apostle, even if they're apostle, they could go up. If they're thrown out to mizbeach, they could stay there. You don't have to retract the carbon. This is the oila. Why did it say this teres oila? Hu oila, or he oila? The might is it's this coming to exclude animals which has done something forbidden with them, which they cannot be going as a carbon oila. If they're also before they came into the Zara, you have to retract them. You cannot use them for a carbon. Also gimel. The Kohen should wear his clothing. You should wear his pants. Put on his flesh. He cannot have anything separating. He can't wear gatkes. He can't wear like a sweater under the clothing which under his uniform. You should lift up the deshen. Deshen is the ashes. There's a service of taking out the ashes after it gets burnt from the mizbeach and putting it next to the mizbeach on the right side of the kevish, and it goes down to the special spot for the ashes. We'll see. Rashi will explain more. I don't want to explain twice. That's why I can read Rashi anyway, so I'm going to say it when we get to Rashi. You should take out the ashes which the fire burnt, al mizbeach and you put it next to the mizbeach. Rashi Gimel. Midei bad. Here katanis. It was referring to the katanis. What is it? Katanis. Let's see a picture right here. That is the katanis of the kohen. Whoops. Okay, we got the picture. Yeah, you see that, right? That's the katanis. Let's zoom in. That is the katanis right there of the kohen. That's the bush of the kohen. That's what the kohen should be wearing when he's doing this. The hekemidase midei bad. Why I say midei bad? Has to be his size. It can't be bigger or smaller. Sorry. Yeah, like we said before, nothing should be separated between the clothing on him. And you should go and dig in, so to speak, and find. Let's get another picture for that as we speak. You should get the well burnt. You should get the well burnt ashes. Then he goes down from the mizbeach and puts it down on next to the mizbeach. Next Rashi, hadeshen asher ta'ercha le'eish ha'oila ve'asas hadeshen ve'asas hadeshen yerim dirim v'summit mizbeach al mizbeach. Yeah, you should take from those ashes, the well burnt ashes, that you should use for Trumas Hadeshin. You take that to service, you go and you put it next to the Mizbeach. Al Mizbeach motzei varim shedayin nizaklu machzirin al Mizbeach la'achar shechota kacholim elach ve'elach v'notam me'pnimi sheneman es ha'el al Mizbeach. And if you by mistake you took off some parts which weren't fully burnt, you should return them to the Mizbeach to keep them on the Mizbeach. Pasuk Dalid. Let's take that off. Pasuk Dalid. Should take off his clothing, switch clothing, and then he should take the deshen when it's full outside of the machane. Okay, let's see Rashi will explain that, elaborate. You don't must switch clothing. You shouldn't, the same clothing that you cook food in, you shouldn't serve your master the food, right? So that's why we say to switch the clothing, because when it's dirty from the ashes, you shouldn't wear the same clothing for the carbon, yeah? That's why you switch your clothing. Yeah, there's two things here. There's the ashes which are on the mizbeach. It's called a tapuach, the big apple. That's where the word big apple comes from. The big apple, and once it accumulates, every once in a while, a big apple of ashes, once it accumulates, you take it out outside the machane. But then there's something separate. You take out the ashes of the carbon oila, that is done daily. You should do it early in the morning, and the fire should be consistent. And you could throw all the shlomim, all the rest of the parts together. Hey, the Heisham Mizbeach took it by Riva Kan Yikidis Harbe al Mekoid of Eisham Mizbeach took it by the Eisham Mizbeach took it by Eishtam took it by Mizbeach Kulan Hindishu and Mesech Lasim. Rashi struggles why to say so many times the Eish took it by the fire should be burnt here, by so many times repetitive that saying that the fire should be burnt. So Rashi says Shnechlaku b'Yuma Shechlak Abisei b'Miriam Baruch Hashem. There's a machlekes. How many fires was on the Mizbeach? Some people say there was one. Some people say there was two. Some people say there was four. I believe each one served a different purpose. Oyla satamid he takdim. Yeah, the other satamid. The tamid comes is the first carbon of the day. Chav yashlam im yaviu sham shlam yirabasim lan mikan oyla alea al oyla sabekin hashtim kolag maniskulam mikan shlei davar meuchal tamid shlebein ha'arbayim. Yeah, meaning the tamid is the last carbon. So try to finish up everything else before we do the end of the carbonis. Yeah. Vav tamid took eish tamid took on mizbeach leisichbe. Should have a continuous fire on the mizbeach. Shouldn't be lashed out. Eish tamid eish shenemar ba tamid. He shmadlikin ba sanera. So you rekindle candles, the menorah candles from this fire which is on the mizbeach. The hal listener tamid. Af he mal mizbeach chitzim tugad. The fire should be there the whole time. There's another lav over here to lash out, to burn out a fire. Zayin. Now we're talking about carbon mincha. The carbon mincha should be facing the mizbeach. It should be right next to the mizbeach, like a little when the mizbeach when it gets lower, it expands. So there's a place that expands. You put it over there. Again, here it says Teiras. Why does it Teiras? It's coming to say that all the carbonis of mincha, this big difference who brings it, it's done the same way. You would think that only the carbon which has oil and levina, which is a Yisrael, then you have to do the whole process of carbon mincha. Minchas Kedim, which goes Kulu El Hashem, should call Tamalei Materas. It's a Teras, they're all the same concept. Mitzvah, the whole process of Korban Mincha. Hakivaisa, you should bring it. He Huksha Bekerem Adavis Dermis in the south. Adavis Dermis, I think it's the southwest corner of the Mizbeach. That's where you do the Korban Mincha. B'fnei Hashem Hu Maidev Hu Tzad Oil Moed, which is facing the Oil Moed. Apnei Mizbeach. V'Adorim Shu Ponav Shel Mizbeach Shekevish Nosam Eretz Yeruach. Do on the same side where the ramp of the Mizbeach is. Ches. V'heidim Mimenu Bekumtzei Miseres Mincha Mishana V'Eskol Leveina Ashed Al Mincha V'Hiktin Al Mizbeach Reach Nechech Askerosa LaHashem. Ches. V'heidim Mimenu Amam Mechubar Shir Asar Nishol Nivas Achas B'Shas Kmitza. Yeah, you should do Kmitza 3 fingers. Yeah, you should take out a soda, like a tenth of this flour that's inside this bowl. What does it say bekumtzei? Bekumtzei means you should do it without a measuring cup. You should take out this amount with your hand. You take it out from a place where there's a lot of oil together. Yeah. You should do, each one has to be done on its own. You can't mix 2 korban minchas together. After you do the process of kmitza, it's not finished yet. You have to go and take all the levena, all the small little spice of levena, and you put it together with the korban. Well, the fish shalei pirush kan. Kein ela ba'achas min menachos v'vayikra hutzach hashanes parshazer lichlo kol menachos k'mishpatim. And because we didn't specify it specifically in Vayikra, that's what we said again over here to teach us that it applies to all the menachos. Yes. And the leftover of the menachos, the kohanim could eat the mokim kodesh ve'ezu b'chatzer oil moed, and the chatzer oil moed, that's where you could eat this. It can be eaten, but in oil moed, yud leisa ofer chametz chalkam nasati eisa mishik kodesh kodeshim hi kechatas ka'asham. Yeah, you should not make it become chametz, and it's considered like a chatas ve'ka'asham. Let's see Rashi. Later offer chametz chalkam. Afa shinayim asurim chametz. Can't eat chametz. Kechatas ve'ka'asham minchas chayte hi kechatas. Leficha kamtza shalei lishma psula. What are you saying? That's like a chatas and a ka'asham has to be done lishma. This just like a chatas and asham. Minchas nedava hi ke'asham. Leficha kamtza shalei lishma kshira. But minchas nedava, not minchas chayte, is different, right? So minchas nedava, which is given, if you don't have the proper kavana, it's still kosher. Yud Aleph. What's Yud Aleph? Kol Zochar ben Yaron Yechlena Chayk Olam Dereisechem Meishe Hashem Kol Ashiga Behen Migdash. Kol Zochar. Yeah, all the males can eat it. What does it mean, Kol Zochar? What do you mean? Afilu Baal Mum. It's coming to include even a Baal Mum. Lama Nema. Yeah, Im Lachila Rekvan Amur Lechem Lekam Shekdashim. Ela L'Rabbi Spali Mum the Machlekes. Yeah, it's coming to include because we already said before the kind eats. So why are you saying here? Coming to include even someone who has a Baal Mum. Kol Ashiga. Anything touches it will become Kaddish. Anything kachim kalim which touches this korban mincha, it becomes like it. If she'im pastor you yeah, if it's possible, it will make the food that's touching it also possible. And if it's a kosher food, when the sailor touches it, it elevates it to that level, and you have to eat it just like the korban mincha. Thank you very much for joining us today's.